Welcome to PR Like a Boss, the podcast where we explore the art and science of public relations in today's ever-changing world. I'm your host, Pats, and today we're diving into the fascinating evolution of lifestyle media, from celebrity gossip to the rise of wellness and self-care. So for this particular episode, I couldn't think of a better guest to unpack it all than Suzanne Baum. Suzanne is an experienced journalist with over 20 years in the industry, having written for top publications like The Express, Metro, Telegraph, Top Santé, Women's Fitness, and many more. She's covered everything from showbiz to beauty, fitness, well-being, and features. And she has insider's perspective on the challenges and opportunities facing modern media. Suzanne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited.
So you've had such, how can I call it, a dynamic career spanning 2 decades in journalism. Let's start by looking back. How has the approach to covering showbiz and lifestyle topics changed over the years?
Wow. Well, it's changed enormously. I think I come from the era of journalists where a little bit like how the Jane Moore spoke on I'm a Celebrity last night. She kind of sums it up for me in that everything has changed. Back in the day, where magazines are my biggest buzz. I love magazines. I love the smell of them. I love writing for them. I love the excitement of, buying them in an airport, to magazines shutting down. And, Jane was saying last night, we used to find case studies, would use dictionaries, would use, I don't know, like the local, whatever it's called, the yellow pages, would use telephones, and do interviews over the phone. And now with the rise of social media and everybody just kind of being online, it's changed massively. And I miss those days. I found journalism back in those days to be so authentic. You couldn't Google something and just copy something off the internet. You don't I've never misquoted anyone in my 30-year career, but journalists easily can misquote people because they lift stories from online. So the internet and social media has transferred the journalism industry. It's unrecognizable to what it was.
And I think that's also mirrored across to the PR and brand side. I remember when I first started my career and looking for those pieces of coverage, I had to manually flick through the papers and the magazines, hoping to find it on a day that it was supposed to be in there, or the journalist would sort of confirm, and it was amazing. Like it was lovely. And then we'd just photocopy or cut them out, and it was very tactile.
Yeah.
But now everything's online.
I think tactile also made it very personable as well. So, when I first started, probably the first decade of my career, I was so proud of getting bylines and writing stories that I was proud of. I'd cut them out and put them down in my office, in the loo. And now all I need to do, is just type my name in, or I get a Google alert and my work's online. So I miss that. It was more personable. Now everybody, I think, especially with celebrities, people just think, they know everything about you, and it's lost its shine. My industry, I mean, I don't know if you say the same about PR, but I feel as a journalist, I miss those days. I really miss the glow that came with the job.
Oh no, completely. I agree, and you're right in terms of the amount of magazines. Like I saw it happening throughout my career. Magazines and newspapers folding and everything going digital. And I know we have to move with the times, and it's really important to just be a step ahead. But it's sad at the same time.
Yeah, it is sad. And when I see magazines, that are still surviving, that are still thriving, I'm really excited. And when a new magazine pops up and, if I'm ever asked to contribute, I jump at it because there's nothing better than just having a magazine to flip through. I think not so much in terms of news, because breaking news, you roll with breaking news these days, but, celebrity interviews, beauty products, the things I still love doing, you can easily read them in a magazine because they're not ever changing on a minute by minute routine like I suppose breaking news does.
Yeah. Now, wellness and mental health are major focuses in lifestyle media and have been for a few years now.
Yeah.
What trends in these areas do you think have lasting power, and which ones are just passing fads?
Well, look, you touched upon mental health. I think in my job as a celebrity editor, where I interview everyone basically, film stars, sports people, athletes. I set the agenda for my questions. I don't have somebody telling me unless the agent's all over it. And often the agent will say, you can't ask this, you need to ask this, which is fine. But I always make sure we do touch upon mental health. And the celebrity is often, they'll bring it up without me even having to prompt them, because I think lots of people think, oh, celebrities, they lead this glam life, everything's perfect. And as a journalist myself, I like my readers to know actually it's not perfect. They're human beings like the rest of us. Yes, the Olympians might be doing the most fascinating things, winning gold medals, but they talk about their mental health. If it's the thinking, I mean, I can use the Olympians this year that I spoke to. That was a lovely job, and I interviewed the gold winners, and a lot of them do mindfulness. A lot of them do a lot of prep to get in the mode, in the head of winning. And even people like Davina McCall, for example, who's always talking about menopause and talking about how it's affected her mental health and ways that she looks after her body and her mind. So mental health is not just a buzzword. Mental health is the one thing we need to talk about, and we do talk about. Wellness sort of comes in fads. Things like collagen supplements. Everyone was talking about the latest collagen supplements, and then I was going to go on to about influencers, but I'll go on to that in a minute. But you have influencers flogging this, flogging that. But what I've always followed in everything I've done has been totally, total integrity. So I'm not going to write about the latest wellness fads if there's nothing to it, just because so and so from Big Brother or whatever claims, I don't know, it clears up their skin or they lost loads of weight on it. I feel it's important role as a journalist to dig that bit deeper, to not push out this project just because X is a brand ambassador getting paid X amount. You really have to know this product works. So when it comes to wellness fads, things like collagen, I like to dig deep. Do they really work? I'm trying to think what else. I mean, fitness, exercise, that's always rocking and rolling. There's always Pilates comes in and out of fashion. I'm obsessed and probably a complete bore about my new paddle obsession. But I think women my age that are in our 50s, things like promoting fitness, I'm all for it, whether it's a fad or not. If it gets you out there, if it gets you running around smiling and enjoying sport, then I think fitness doesn't necessarily have to be a fad. It's just nice to do it. Yeah, so I think things like gratitude journals and mindful apps, I'm not poo-pooing them because they do work for a lot of people.
But not for you.
My kids use mindful apps actually, and I like that they use them. Gratitude journals, I don't use, but I would put them in my Christmas gift guide because I do a lot of shopping guides, because I know the beauty of writing things down. That's my therapy, putting pen to paper and writing. So something like a gratitude journal, I think, is a wonderful idea because it gets people thinking and putting down their feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of it, but I never stick with it for some reason.
Yeah.
I do like a collagen supplement though. And and I from that sort of exercise and fitness, I think in general it's just good for you, right? And it makes you feel better all round. So I feel that one of the biggest challenges journalists face today is possibly balancing meaningful, authentic storytelling with the pressures of digital engagement. So those clicks, shares, likes, etc. How do you personally ensure your stories remain credible and authentic in this landscape?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I've kind of stuck my neck out and always, look, there's well-known newspapers out there that if I write for them, I know they'll change the headline, they might misquote me. And because I'm coming from the back of a 30-year incredible career where I've had a clean slate, built up amazing relationships, I would step back if I'm asked from a certain title to write to them, because I don't care about clickbait. This is the problem. Young journalists that are starting their career, then maybe they just have to do what they're told. I'm now quite hardened to it. I hate clickbait, but I know it sells papers. I have built up an incredible rapport with PRs, like you, celebrities, celebrity agents, all the people that surround the celebrities. So
Mm-hmm.
I would never want to ruin my reputation. So I'm always very, very careful of who I write for. I'm careful that I want to see copy if an editor's running it. I want approval. No, young journalists wouldn't be able to do that because they're not entitled to do that. Whereas I'm quite hardened to it now. Helps that I'm married to a lawyer. I mean, my husband, as a lawyer, would make, not that he ever tells me what to do, but I'm very aware of the legalities in journalism. Copyright, that sort of thing. So I think I'm just very careful. And I think, look, I do interview all the A-list celebrities. So of course, if I'm with Amanda Holden and they run it, Amanda Holden XXX, they're going to get the clicks. If I'm with the Olympians, that's going to get clicks in the
Mm-hmm.
sports page because people want to read the stories. But I'm just very careful and very cautious and quite happy now, fortunately, to actually say no if somebody says, like, I won't say the outlet, but I've been writing a lot for an outlet, and they told me when I do my interviews they want more sexual context.
Mm.
Because of course that sells. And I immediately said, sorry, no, that's not me. I'm not going to be asking a celebrity about their sex life because that's not what I want to do. So I've turned down work purely for that reason.
Good for you. I think it's all about staying true to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about the digital landscape. Social media in particular has totally reshaped the way we consume content. I know it's reshaped the way I consume content personally, but it's also deeply intertwined with journalism now. What role does social media play in your reporting, especially in the showbiz and lifestyle space?
No, I mean, social media, I kind of love it, stroke, hate it. I love it because, look, it's amazing. I don't know, if I interview someone like Peter Andre, I'm just flinging out names, and then if they see then my work, if I post a lot of my work on social media on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
If they see I've done it, they then reshare it. So for the outlet that I've written for, that's amazing because say Peter Andre has, I don't know, maybe 3 million followers. So if I've interviewed him, he then reshares that, then we get millions of new readers, not followers. So that works amazing. I don't like the toxic side of social media. I'm glad I don't have young kids anymore because, I would worry what content they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first to not shut down because that sounds quite arrogant, but if there is a social media trend that's toxic that I just think this is ludicrous and I have an opportunity to write about it, then I will. For example, there was this toxic trend of you have to have a tiny thigh gap to wear a certain pair of leggings.
Oh, for goodness
And
sake.
it blew up, and all these young girls were getting upset that they couldn't wear their leggings. And somebody said, would you write against it? And I was more than happy to write against it because I think also body positivity is another thing, which goes back to what you said in terms of fads and trends.
Mm-hmm.
Body positivity will always be with us. There'll always be people thinking they're too thin, they're too fat, they want to look like X on social media. There's this whole thing with filters on Instagram that I'm always poo-pooing because I think there's, lots of people have such a lack of self-esteem and bad confidence that seeing these people that use filters just makes me cross. So the toxic side of social media, Twitter I've come off because Twitter used to be the best place. I would be on Good Morning Britain or working on This Morning as a news reporter, and that would be the place I'd get my case studies. We'd go into conference, would see what topic was newsworthy, and then I would need to find a case study that fitted that topic. Twitter would be amazing. It was a nice space. Now, for me personally, it's just content that makes me miserable and makes me actually not happy. And I kind of feel like I don't need that.
Yeah.
So Twitter, I've come off. Other journalists probably swear by it.
There are quite a few journalists that have now started to leave Twitter.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've joined Blue Sky, but I've got like, I don't even know what I'm doing there. And I kind of feel like I don't need so much social media in my life. But this also then goes on to, I'm fortunate I get a lot of brand partnership deals. So this is where my husband comes in and he's literally like, you have to do paid, you have to do all the right hashtags, you have to do paid, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a nice part of social media. I get to brand collab, but for influencers, it's a whole new ball game. It's like, that's the future, I think, influencers and brand collabs.
Mm-mm. Have you noticed a shift in what readers prioritise when consuming showbiz and wellness content?
Um, I don't know if I've noticed a shift so much. I mean, also, I suppose as I've aged, I don't know, like my kids haven't heard of half the people I've interviewed and they're in
Mm.
their 20s. So I think that, I don't know, I suppose when menopause was such a massive buzzword, and I think it's important to talk about the menopause. So I think maybe as I'm getting older and, things are more appealing to me than they once were, then I suppose the readership changes. I mean, I'm not writing anymore for magazines like Heat. I'm not writing
Mm.
for, you know, Prima and New and all those lovely magazines. And so I suppose the readership changes. But young people still, if I interview a footballer, if I interview, I don't know, someone that everyone knows, then I get readers from all different ages, which is great.
Yeah. So for journalists trying to strike the right balance, can you tell me what's the secret to entertaining readers while still delivering that meaningful and impactful content?
Well, in terms of celebrity journalism, I think, look, you can't be shy around a celebrity. And also, you have to have a lot of confidence, which I never had at the start. But now you just got to sort of, when I rock up to an interview, there's never, apart from in COVID, which was amazing, it was just me and the celebrity for obvious reasons. Now, most of them are with a team of hair, beauty, PRs, agents. There's always a
Their
circle around
entourage.
them.
Yeah.
There's an entourage. So I think a lot of my work and the hard work that goes into it is not the interview itself, is actually coming up with the right questions. So if I can get a funny quote from a celebrity, that shows they're humorous and they're real people, I think that always gets people interested. I think you've got to be totally honest and totally, not so much direct, but really get out of them what your readers are going to want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that always makes a good read. And if they have like a funny quote and I run with a funny quote as opposed to anything like three in the bed romp sort of thing, then, and I think because I've built up an honest and integral um, reputation, people kind of know what they're going to get out of me.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So now for a little bit of fun, I'm going to throw out some trends and bold statements, and I want you to respond with one of the following. Trending, if you think it's gaining traction and here to stay.
Yeah.
Fading, if it's on its way out. True, if the statement is accurate. False, if you disagree, and tell us why. Okay?
Right, that's four things. Okay. Menopausal brain. I might need a prompt.
Okay, so first trend. Celebrity skincare lines are dominating the beauty industry. Do
No,
we think
fade.
trending or fading?
Fading.
Fading. Next, wellness retreats are being featured more frequently in lifestyle media.
True.
How about AI tools like ChatGPT? Are they becoming essential in journalism?
I think they might become the future, but right now I think we're treading the treadmills carefully and slowly. I don't think it's engulfing journalism.
Okay. Minimalistic beauty routines replacing multi-step regimes.
I'm still on the fence with that because I'm personally a bit of both. If I'm in a rush, I love a dual acting product. But then again, I like to sit in the bath and do about 10 different facial creams. So
I mean,
bit of both.
I used to be like a 7-step kind of girl,
Yeah,
but I've had to totally pare it back because my skin just doesn't agree with it anymore. So
yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know whether that's like an age thing, possibly. So now I've got quite a very minimalistic routine compared to what I had before. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I think it kind of changes really, doesn't it?
yeah.
Okay, so now for some bold statements. Social media now has more influence than traditional press.
Yes, agree.
Okay. Clicks are more important than quality content in today's journalism.
Well, I'm all against that, but I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. Readers today care more about wellness and self-care than celebrity gossip.
Bit of both.
On the
Sorry,
fence. You're on the fence
on the
there.
fence.
Authenticity in brand storytelling is more important than ever.
Absolutely, 100% that.
Yeah. Suzanne, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your
Thank you.
invaluable insights. This has been such a fascinating look at how media is evolving and what it takes to thrive in today's fast-paced industry. But before we wrap up, where can listeners follow your work and keep up with your stories?
Oh, thanks for having me. Well, I've got an Instagram page where I put a lot of my stuff, but where else? I don't know. Just like type my name into Google and my work will come up. Suzanne Baum. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you again, Suzanne. And thank you
Thank
to my
you.
listeners for tuning in to PR Like a Boss. Remember, whether it's showbiz, beauty, or self care, the key to great content is staying authentic, informed, and connected to your audience. See you next time for more behind the scenes insights into the world of PR and media. Until then, keep pushing boundaries and PRing like a boss.